today we are joined by the extraordinary Tera Ajeet, a blind storyteller and angelic Kundalini coach whose work illuminates the path where challenge transforms into awakening. Through her voice, her intuitive guidance, and her lived experience, she invites us into a world beyond physical sight, a world where inner vision, spiritual resilience, and the light of truth becomes the real compass. This conversation explores what it means to turn perceived limitations into sources of spiritual power, wisdom, and liberation. So, welcome, Dayajit, to I Awaken. It's a pleasure to have you on my show.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
The pleasure is all mine. So, Tara, your journey shows that disability can become a gateway rather than a barrier. So, what moment in your life first revealed that your blindness carried a deeper spiritual purpose?
That was actually the first moment that I became really, really, really aware of it was when I was in college and I was finishing up my bachelor studies. And in the last year, we had a program of choice, a minor. And in that minor, I chose to do something with personal leadership. Totally not expecting that in that minor, I will learn so much more than just the business part of personal leadership. The layers in that program were for me so opening. Like there was a session on a regular basis with a yoga teacher. They called it personal growth, and it was all about personal growth. And after almost that full period, um I discovered that actually doing mindfulness techniques like a yoga, a meditation, a simultaneous breath work, excuse, that it worked for me. And there were persons earlier in my life that have mentioned, hey, maybe relaxation techniques are interesting for you, or taking some yoga classes. And I was like, no, I'm too busy for all of that. I feel too stressed and totally not seeing the link what I was saying. I was too stressed. I was too busy. Exactly the parts where we do this kind of techniques for, especially we use it in the West like that, and starting into it and doing exercises, feeling, seeing, becoming more aware of my body, and also becoming more aware that I always was in a rush, always rushing, always thinking, oh, I have to do, I have to complete my college, I have to do this, I have to do that. Totally forgetting that there was another part of me. And that part was always there. Even as a little girl, I was always connected to other things like higher energies. I could feel energies from a very young age, but did not know how to work with them or how to even share them with other people, because thinking that thinking about telling that to even my family was like a bizarre idea. Like, what do they think of me? Do they think that I'm crazy, or do they say that I'm just a child? But in that period, um, I discovered that it was part of me, part of actually authentic me. And that opened so much for me.
Wow, you are truly so brave for doing all that, and I think we all can take a moment to learn something from you. But I have to ask you this. When that realization emerged, how did it reshape the way you related to your inner world?
At first, it was as all new things, it was scary. I was, um, f- the teacher had dropped a specific yoga style. And at a certain moment, I had looked it up on the internet, find some videos, find a Dutch teacher, and started to do regularly once a week, twice a week practices. And at a certain moment, doing daily practices. And until I came to a set that was like, it was called a set for your higher self, I believe. It was that kind of connection to your higher self. And I had challenged myself to do that one for 11 days. And seems really doable, but at a certain point, like on day 7 or 8, my third eye starts to react. And that scared me so much that I dropped all of it. That I was like, no, I am not doing this again. I don't want this. I am scared. I don't know what's happening. Am I driving crazy? All of that thoughts came up because when my third eye was starting to vibrate, it was physically sensible, but also my dreams started to become really, really, really clear. And that scared me. That scared me. Until I came back because something calls me back to the practice, back to the mat, and back to that experience, how scary it was. And that something was that I failed my first exams. So I had to do part of the year again after summer. And that meant that I had a few months off, and that few months I started to feel really negative, really down, really low energy. And there it was the call again. Do it. Take some exercises. Maybe not the one that scared you, but take some other sets. Try it out. Feel it. So I did. And that results in that I find out that there was a whole community, that there were more people of me that doing this daily or that struggle with coming into to yoga and to their own power, because yes, part of it was the practices, but what was opening was really my personal power. And after a few conversations, I discovered that what I had, that experience that make me scared, was actually something. Yeah, normal is not is the word that I wanted to use, but it was an experience in that way. And that it was scary was absolutely what my mind was making out of it, because the mind did not know. It was new, and maybe I did have it before, but not in such a clear way than in that specific moment. And it changed me in a way that I wanted to do more. I wanted to do more. I wanted to have more experience. I wanted to conquer my fears and to make the use out of it, because feeling energy and seeing things clear can have a lot of profits if you know, and if you're not scared of it anymore. And so for everyone, it is totally normal to be scared of your first experience.
Definitely, Definitely. I mean, being scared is just part of the process. But I don't think that we should let that fear stop us from moving forward. And that's exactly what you did. And like I said, we all should take a moment to learn that from you. So moving on, Tara, you guide others through angelic Kundalini work. How has your lack of physical sight sharpened your ability to perceive energetic or intuitive subtleties?
Yeah. Yes, that's something that happened naturally because I am born with it. I am born with the with this eyesight I have. I'm born blind, so that means that for me, it's normal to trust on my other senses. For instance, hearing and indeed feeling energy and um, something physical like hearing. You can hear what's happening around you, but you can not hear how a client is looking in front of you. That is something you have to, yeah, feel in that way. And you don't have to, because some people have it, some not, and some people can see it from facial expression or subtle signs of the body. But I don't have that eyesight, and my way is really feeling and trust on that feelings. And that's the interesting part, because feeling and a sense of, with that feeling, a sense of inner knowing, like, hey, this person is having a rough time. And I'm trust on it, finding the courage to speak it out, saying, hey, I have the feeling you're having a rough time. And that the person in front of you is like, oh, you are so right. And that's an amazing way of working. That's a beautiful, powerful way of working that is an experience on its own.
Definitely, and it's very fascinating because it reminds me that when you lose one of your senses, you develop a sixth sense, right? And that sixth sense helps us a lot. So in your case, like you just shared, so it's very fascinating. And your perspective makes intuition feel like a natural extension of awareness rather than a mysterious gift. Many people struggle to embrace their challenges as part of their spiritual path. So, what internal resistance do you see most often when people face their own limitations?
Everybody is different. So every resistance is different. But on a natural way, humans are really, really, really resisting to change. Because why should we change? This has always worked for me. And if you turn it around, you if you change, no, better. If you see that something is no longer working for you, why should you not change it?
Okay, that is some powerful words that you just shared. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, it's definitely true. If you see that something is not working for you, then you should definitely work hard to change that. And but when they feel trapped in self pity or frustration, what gentle practice helps them begin transforming that energy? Like, what helped for you? Could you share with the listeners?
What for me helped really, really, really. And I am a person that always wants to know why. why is this happening to me? Why am I doing this? Why do I make this choice for change? And that's also the answer on your question. What for me helped in sense of frustration is to know why. Why am I frustrated? And then when you know that, and you can do that in many ways. You can do it by writing. You can automate it writing, like started writing. I feel frustrated because, and then just write it all out. You can do it in a conversation with your best friend or family member, or even your child when you see that they are getting stuck. You can do it, you can draw it, you can visualize it, go you can go to your heart. You have a really great compass in your body, and that is your heart. And your heart will always show you your truth and your identity. So what for me really helped when I get stuck or frustrated or in lower energy is focus on my heart. Focus on what am I grateful for? In case just the vibration of thank you, just saying that, whispering it, feeling it, it's magical. It's magical, really.
Beautiful. I mean, yes, definitely what you said. Knowing the why behind things can actually help you a lot. And other things, like you mentioned, journaling, and then asking yourself what things actually make you feel better. Those things, they definitely help a lot. That's true. So, thank you for sharing that again, Tara. So as a storyteller, you bring invisible realms to life. How do your stories help others reconnect with the power of their inner voice and imagination?
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, I love to do. I love to do what I do. That's one. And by talking to people, I do not only talk. I yes, I in this physical world I talk, but I do this and I speak absolutely from my heart. I am open, I am willing, and sometimes I get things from source, universe, God, whatever name you choose, all of it is fine. And I use that power, my inner power, and that sense of above, that signs, I use it when I talk. It's not only making the sound, it's also laying the energy in the words when you speak. And yes, it is sharing personal experiences because, for instance, listening to a teacher that is working for 30 years in the same branch, have seen so much more businesses than you can ever count on one hand, is much more interesting to listen to than someone who has just finished their study, starting in their first job. Yes, they can have and they have their own story, but that story is mostly not about their work experience. It will be about experience of life or their hobbies or their passion. So that is what I do, and that is what I hope to give you, a spark of inspiration through my words, through my energy, and through sharing my personal experiences because I don't share stories of others. I only share stories from my perspective and experiences that are mine. So I hope that will find its way to you.
Amazing. Storytelling does have an effect of its own. I've seen it happening, and hearing how story and spirit intertwine gives your work a timeless and deeply healing quality. So, for anyone feeling limited physically, emotionally, or spiritually, what truth would you want them to hold close as they move forward?
There is always a way, always. Maybe it's not the way that you see now, because when you're stuck, you don't see, mostly you don't see that there is a way out, but there is. Tune in to your heart, and maybe it sounds cliche, but it is true. I know from a personal experience that it is true. And sometimes the answer on the question, why does this happen to me, is just because it must be. It must be happening this way. Or you have to learn this lesson. Or you have to learn and have to see that this way is not working for you so that you can turn around and go your own way.
Amazing advice. I mean, definitely, there is always a way, and yeah, it just you just have to wait ahead and see what God has in store for you. So there is always a way, definitely. Now coming to the end, uh, I'm sure that a lot of our listeners now, after this fascinating conversation, would want to connect deeply with you, or know more about your storytelling or your Kundalini readings. So if they want to do that, how can they connect with you? Could you share with the listeners?
Yeah, sure. You can connect with me by following on my Instagram, Terra underscore underscore. Or if you feel the need of more personal contact, I will be really, really open to serve you. And you can send me an email on info@teraajeet.nl.
Great, great. So I'll have all the details on my show listing, and then the listeners can feel free to connect with you. So, Tara, thank you for bringing such profound clarity, courage, and soulful illumination to this conversation. Your life is a reminder that our greatest strengths often bloom from the places we fear are broken. And that vision is something far deeper than sight. To everyone listening, may this dialogue inspire you to meet your challenges with openness, to trust the wisdom that rises from within, and to step boldly into your own spiritual strength. Your inner light is waiting to be seen by you.